Flux Chapter 4, Village of the Angels. Now this one, like War of the Sontarans, this is pretty much a break from the regular storyline just to give us a Weeping Angels story, but it also fits in, and like with War of the Sontarans and the Halloween Apocalypse, to be honest, this story is just mad. A lot happens, and it leaves us with a rather shocking cliffhanger, which I can't wait to see how they resolve. Now, in order to tell this story, I think I'm going to speak about the least interesting part of the story first, and that is the update with Vinda and Belle. You get Belle, once again played by Thadia Graham, she has managed in her search for Vinda to make her way to the planet of Pisano. There she meets up with a handful of survivors, including a kind of hippie type named Blake Harrison. Well, named Namaka, played by Blake Harrison. Sorry, got confused there for a minute. Former In-Betweeners actor. And he says that every so often a kind of set of gods come to this world in order to save members, survivors of the Flux, and take them to somewhere they'll be safe. However, Belle recognises that the person who comes to them is Azure, played once again by Rashenda Sandel, and that she knows that people there are being sent into passenger, and that's not a form of saviour, that's hell. To which she tries to warn him against it, and she manages to save Namaka from being taken, and he's a bit kind of begrudge. He holds a grudge against her for once again being denied salvation, having previously missed the call 4 times. At the end of the episode, literally in a mid-credits scene, Vinda, played once again by Jacob Anderson, approaches Namaka and asks if he knows where Belle is, to which he says he has seen her. He doesn't know where she is, but he tells Vinda to thank her as she probably saved his life, to which we see that she recorded a message for Vinda, but then she was seemingly interrupted by something. We don't know what yet. Anyway, that's probably the least interesting part of the episode, and it is more of a side plot of a storyline. The rest of it's just mad, because as we saw at the end of the previous story, a Weeping Angel had managed to get inside the TARDIS and had managed to get control. And if you remember one of the last scenes of Blink with the Weeping Angels trying to get inside, that was bad. And once again here, it's legitimately scary. But the Doctor manages some timey-wimey stuff, and she manages to regain control of the TARDIS, where she, Yaz, and Dan go outside to see where they've landed. Now, they've seemingly landed in Mediton, a small village near Devon, and it's November the 21st, 1967. Now, once again, I'm going to break up the story into small parts just so I can better talk about it. I think the less interesting part is what happens between Yaz, played once again by Mandip Gill, and Dan, played by John Bishop. Now, while the Doctor goes off to do something somewhere else, the two of them meet up with a couple named Gerald, played by Vincent Brimble, and Jean, played by Gemma Churchill. Now, they are out looking for their great niece, Peggy, played by Poppy Polivnicki. Now, the reason why they're looking for her is because ever since her parents died, she has been staying with them. And it's hinted at in this story that both sides admit they probably wouldn't do it, but needs must and all that. I don't think they're abusive towards her, but they certainly don't treat her the best. At least that's what I got across. And while searching for her, Yaz and Dan get captured by Weeping Angels and sent back into the past, where they encounter Peggy. And there are 2 time periods that this episode switches between, 1967 and 1901, so 60 years before. They eventually find Peggy, and she tells them that they can't leave the village, to which when she takes them to the edge of the village, we see in both time periods the edge of the village also provides a lookout onto the edge of space, and that seemingly the village has been separated from time completely. Whether this is the work of the Weeping Angels, it's unknown, but yeah, it's pretty cool to see. So it's just a question for them of how they're going to get back, and when they ultimately come to a point which does show both sides, they find they can't get through, but then they see an elderly woman on the other side who they met earlier, or at least who was seen earlier in the episode, who Peggy recognizes. But then the woman says that Peggy can't get home a short way. She'll have to go the long way round because she is Peggy. 60 years from now. Presumably when she is 70 or the like, 60, she has to wait in that village in that time period for 66 years to get back to 1967. She's in 1901 now. She has to go the long way round, which is rather heartbreaking to see, but is understandable. But the main crux of this story, the point where all the madness goes on, is with the Doctor. Now, with Weeping Angels, of course, all around, that's problematic enough. But she goes up to a house where she finds Professor Eustachius Jericho, played by Kevin McNally, who previously appeared in Pirates of the Caribbean as Joshua Gibbs. Oh, he's a nice guest star. And he is experimenting on a seer named Claire Brown. Now, we had seen Claire earlier on in this series. Back in the Halloween Apocalypse, she had introduced herself to the Doctor and said they hadn't met yet, but they would later on. Now, it's revealed that Claire is a seer, that she can see short premonitions of the future, and that's what ultimately led her to introduce herself back in the Halloween Apocalypse. And they've got Weeping Angels closing in, and it's revealed that Claire has a Weeping Angel inside her head somehow. And that's scary enough. And they do actually manage to build on some stuff that they had previously introduced with the Weeping Angels. Back with Matt Smith's era, they had said, whatever holds the image of an angel becomes itself an angel. And they managed to do some really creepy stuff with this. Like, the Professor has to keep his eyes on a television screen in order that shows a security camera in the house in order to stop the angels coming through the TV. Claire has also drawn a picture of a weeping angel, which the Doctor quickly tears up and throws in the fire, or throws in the fireplace, but it manages to piece itself back together. And in order to stop it, she takes it and sets it on fire, which then shows a flaming weeping angel come out, and that's freaking just awesome. And even then, when she and the Doctor are hooked up to a polygraph test, when they go into a shared trance, the angels manage to manipulate it to make the polygraph draw a picture of an angel on the paper. And a lot of this stuff is just really cool, but eventually they find out that the angel inside Claire's head is running away from the other angels. Like, it's a rogue one. And that's a nice idea, having a weeping angel on the run, a rogue weeping angel. That sounds like it could be cool. But eventually they have to try and find a way out, and the Professor is touched by an angel and sent back in time. And this is where it gets really scary, like the last few minutes. As the Professor is seemingly sent back in time, Claire has managed to slip past the angels and get outside to where they were going, and the Doctor presumes that she'll be sent back in time as well, only the angels don't touch her, they don't move. And it's just like, well, why aren't they coming for me? And once again, I don't necessarily understand the entire storyline with the Division, but it's eventually revealed that the Weeping Angels have some connection to the Division, like they worked with them, and that's scary enough. And they say that they no longer want the angel inside Claire's head because they have found something that the Division wants more. They are reclaiming the Doctor, and the storyline, the episode eventually wraps up with Yaz and Dan forced to watch in horror as the Doctor is captured by the Weeping Angels, seemingly turns to stone, grows angel wings herself, and becomes a Doctor Weeping Angel sat right there as she is retrieved for the Division. And that's where it ends. Like, they're stuck in 1901, the Doctor's a Weeping Angel, everyone's scattered around the place, and it's just a question of where they're going to go next. I mean, okay, I'd say that the best episode of Flux so far still is War of the Sontarans, but I think this comes in second place. It does a hell of a whole lot, and it does set up a really interesting cliffhanger that I can't wait to see how they resolve. So, there you go. It's exciting, and I can't wait to see what's going to happen. Anyway, the next episode is due to be called Survivors of the Flux, and how they're going to resolve this cliffhanger, I don't know, but I can't wait to see it. Anyway, there you go. There's my quick review of Village of the Angels. Really scary. Anyway, until next time, see ya.